As you can see, I'm emptying out my pockets, and there's some things you may not recognize. And as you already know, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and one of these things is glucose. So why glucose? Well, me and the other 3 million type 1 diabetics in America combine to have over 300 million hypoglycemic episodes annually. So hypoglycemia is a side effect of being insulin dependent, and the way to correct it is with glucose or some other food product, but glucose is the most efficient. And if it's not corrected, it can lead to serious adverse medical consequences, including death. So in short, we need to carry glucose, which leads to the problem. The problem is the current offerings are inadequate. They taste bad, they're really big, bulky, uncomfortable, and they're just not satisfactory, as this is an integral thing that I have to carry with me all the time as a type 1 diabetic. So I decided to test this hypothesis in the marketplace through a survey of 93 type 1 diabetics. And it turns out I'm not the only one who feels this way, as only a quarter of diabetics were satisfied with the size and shape, and only a sixth felt this is something comfortable in my pocket. So then we talked with some consumers, we talked with some professionals in the industry, and they agreed with us on these problems, but they also brought a few other things to light, such as they taste bad, they're difficult to open, which is a pet peeve of Brett Michaels, and it's also just the tablets break easily. So basically there's a lot of problems, and we came up with a few solutions to the problems. Like that. Okay. First, the consumer habits. So the majority of diabetics carry glucose on them. 68% of diabetics always carry it on them. 80% of diabetics purchase glucose, and out of that, diabetics carry glucose on the person if it's in their pockets, in their pocketbook, or just somewhere on them at all times. So we came up with a few solutions based on the consumer habits and just the frustrations that I and others expressed. The first thing we asked diabetics is, how useful would it be if it fit inside your wallet? And over 50% of diabetics said that would be very useful or useful. Then we asked them how useful it would be if it was more comfortable in your pockets, and 64% of diabetics said that would be very useful or useful. And lastly, we asked them, okay, let's combine these two. How likely would you be to try a product if it fit both more comfortably in your pockets and inside your wallet? And 69% of diabetics said that would be very likely or likely. And that led us to the solution of everyday glucose, which is everyday glucose. It fits in your wallet like a credit card does. It's only 4 credit cards thick. It fits in your pocket like a pack of gum. It just makes carrying glucose comfortably. It'll reduce the bulk of diabetic carrying kits as well. So to give you a little more detail of our concept, there are 2 components. The first is the case. The case is 4 credit cards thick. It's pretty much indestructible. You can bring it with you in the ocean. You can hike with it. If you fall off a cliff while skiing, the case will still be intact. And the case holds a refill, which contains 16 grams of carbohydrates of glucose, and basically that's the recommended dosage of the ADA. So you know when you use your glucose case with a refill in it, you can fall off a skiing cliff and you'll be all right. So how are we going to make it? Well, we're going to co-develop with the confectionery and over-the-counter manufacturer. We've identified our top 3 targets. We're currently in discussions with Best Sweet, and they brought to light that manufacturers like themselves are really looking for ways to be in the diabetic market, and we believe that we provide a great solution and a way for them to enter into this market. So how are we going to market this? Well, as a type 1 diabetic, I gain my knowledge and sources of stuff through 3 main avenues: the endocrinologist, my doctor, diabetic educators who I meet with on multiple times throughout the year, and through diabetic philanthropy such as the JDRF. So we plan on targeting for the endocrinologists and the diabetic educators, the parent organizations, as well as meeting with them when they have major conventions and educating them on the benefits of our product. Then for the JDRF, we plan on donating 10% of our operating profit to this philanthropy. We believe that a partnership with them will enable us to gain great marketing exposure for free, while simultaneously demonstrate our dedication as a company for meeting the needs of type 1 diabetics. So how are we going to sell this? We have 3 ways we plan on selling it. The first is in retail pharmacies such as Walgreens and CVS. We will license it as a home brand, which is what our competitors currently do. The second way we plan on marketing this is through our website, everydayglucose.com. Here we will have a bulk purchasing option, as well as the ability to make custom cases. An example is a medical ID case, which 62% of our respondents put as in their top 2 box score. Then let's go to pharmaceuticals. We have 2 sales avenues here. The first way we plan is having a promotional case like that, where you just take our basic wallet case, stick a logo on it, and then provide the company with a set number of refills per case ordered, and then they'll hand these out to all the doctor's offices throughout the country and just be a nice little promotional gimmick. But let's take it one more step further. So an example of this is I have an insulin pump, and we want to create cases for specialized glucometers and insulin pumps. So when I have my insulin pump, there's a case which I can slide my glucose simply behind it, and we believe that this is a very attractive option for these companies, and there'll be a way for these companies to really differentiate themselves from the competition. So, who are our competitors? Well, these guys are our competitors, but let's get into a little bit more detail. Who owns these guys and who are they? Well, Dexfor and Relion are the main competitors, and there are a number of them, but they all have the same 4 product lines. This, which is the 10 tablet, the 50 tablet, then there's a gel, and then there's also a glucose drink. And those are our competition, but they really have had the same product lines for the past 10 years, and there really isn't much innovation in this market space. So, you're going to ask, how are we going to protect this great idea? We've had discussions with 2 individuals. The first is Monty Rowland, who runs a design firm in Raleigh, and the second is Jamie Cornell, who's a venture capitalist with billions of dollars in assets. And they both said to us the same basic thing: get a design patent for every design you're possibly thinking of making. So we plan on getting design patents for 3 areas of our business. The first one will be our wallet case, which is what I showed you earlier. The second one is going to be a phone case, which we plan on launching in our 4th year of business. And the third is the diabetic device cases, which I already mentioned. And then by having our razor blade model with the refills, we believe that will provide us sufficient protection to protect us from being copied. So who is the management team? Well, there's myself. My name is Scott Bissinger again. I'll be acting as CEO. I'm a UNC Business Majors Senior in Entrepreneurship track in the B School. Then there's my partner, Greg Becker, who will be in charge of sales and management, and is another senior at UNC. And currently, I've been working with a confectionery consultant named Dinah Fox, who was involved in the launch of Stride Gum, and she has been our current liaison between us and manufacturers and sort of been acting as an intermediary. And she's sort of on board as sort of on an employee on a commission basis. If she strikes gold, she'll join the team. If not, we'll look elsewhere. So how are we gonna, so the 3 of us aren't suitable just to run this business. So we have 2 planned additions. The first is the VP of Operations, who will work with Dinah in getting our supply chain sort of the organization with our manufacturers of the cases and of the glucose refills. And then we also plan on a VP of Finance, who will run the financial books of our company, be involved in capital planning and development, future expansion, future investments, and so on and so forth. So, what's the basic timeline of our business? In the pre-launch stage, which is the first 6 months, we plan on writing and submitting our patents, and then having both the case design finalized and the glucose refills both ready to bring to market, and have some preliminary discussions with companies we plan on selling to and put our product in retail. Then in the next 12 months, between months 6 through 18, we plan on expanding our retail outreach to 100, launching our website, selling online on our website, just solidifying our name in the marketplace. Then at months 18 and onward, we plan on becoming a major player in the glucose market. We also plan on making our first major sale to pharmaceuticals via the cases. And then lastly, we plan really just working on starting the phone cases and the diabetic device case avenue of the business. So then just some basic sales projections. We plan on selling 26,000 refills in year 1 and 3 million refills by year 5. You think that's a lot? There's 400 million hypoglycemic episodes in America alone. By that time, we will believe we have some international reach. So what are some basic financial highlights? We'll break even in the 2nd year of business, be close to 100,000 in net profit in year 3, $1 million in year 4, and almost $5 million in year 5, which leads us to a valuation of $38 million in our 5th year of business. So what am I going to do when I win the $15,000? Well, start off a $2,000 donation to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation to show our commitment to this organization, our commitment to diabetics, and just a start to this relationship. Then we will use $1,000 to trademark the Everyday Glucose name and start the basic incorporation of the company. And the last $12,000 is going to be used to fund our initial case development and to basically get the paperwork starting rolling on the patent. So here's a list of our board of advisors, and thank you for being out tonight, and this is a great event. So thank you to all you all.
Woo! on the job.